Alright, this is my second video, and I left you without a question on the last video, module 3. So basically that question which I meant to ask was, do we argue for our own selfish reasons just to be right, our own ego, or do we argue for the genuine benefit of the other person so that they actually know they were wrong and they learned something? So that's my question. Are we being selfish, or are we looking out for somebody else? Alright, now to get into this video's topic. This video I'm going into module 4, which is Consequentialism, Utilitarian Ethics. So I wrote down a lot, so I'm not very good at this speaking thing, so I'm just going to kind of read here to you what I got. Alright. So, consequentialist or utilitarian ethics. Okay, so there are two different approaches here, consequentialism or non-consequentialism. Consequentialism is an approach that takes into account the consequences of one's actions. For example, if I help a person, what will be the outcome of that? Non-consequentialism doesn't take these consequences into account. So, for example, they would not care of the outcome of helping the other person. They would just do it because that is the ethical rule. So they don't care about consequences. They just know A and B, C is the outcome, so that's what's going to happen. It talks about an ethical agent. Anyone who is in an ethical dilemma making an ethical decision is referred to as an ethical agent. So in non-consequentialism, we have ethical egoism, or universal ethical egoism. This theory states that one should always act in their own their own best self-interest. For example, if I personally am with a bunch of friends and we all get hungry, I might know that two of the other guys love McDonald's, but I'm going to go ahead and suggest Zippy's because that's what I like. So it's to my benefit that we end up at Zippy's, so I'll be happy. One says this theory is the same as being selfish or greedy, but Aristotle would argue. So Aristotle said one of the most Aristotle says it is in our own best interest, or it is of the utmost importance to be allied with one's self-interest. He goes on to say striving for nobility is for oneself is among the highest of virtues. So basically Aristotle doesn't believe that looking out for your self-interest is bad. In fact, he thinks it's it's very virtuous. Alright, so of course there are going to be arguments and people will find weaknesses to this ethical theory. Conflicting interest and a lack of honesty, basically. Conflicting interest says that if I am looking out for me, then what do I care about the next guy? Basically is one argument against it. And the other is a lack of honesty, which is very simple to understand. If we all are looking out for our own self-interest, how can we believe what anyone else's interests are? I mean, what they say, because you know that they're only thinking about themselves. So those are the arguments and the weaknesses of that particular theory. From there, we get into the normative. We get into enlightened egoism. It's a normative theory. States that it is morally correct to put aside immediate desires and act in accordance with your long-term interest. For example, basically that's just saying that you want something right now, but you know in the long run it's not going to be, the outcome of that isn't going to be in your best interest. So I'm out, this hot lady is interested in me and she is smoking, and I just can't believe that she wants to be with me, but hey, I'm a married guy. So as much as I am pretty drunk and it's pretty tempting, I am going to go ahead and decline her invitation because I don't want to lose my wife. I'm not married, that's just an example. Alright, from there's rational egoism, which basically, you know, they're all these egoisms are basically about the same thing. It's just about you first, not to worry about the next guy. On the other hand, there is the next guy. So we are going to move into utilitarianism, and basically this states that morality is based on how much pleasure or good is produced for all the people concerned in a given moral situation. So it's not about me no more, it's about what are my actions going to produce. I'm going to make the steps that, I'm going to do what is best in the interest of all of us and not just for myself. So in utilitarianism, it's broken down to act and rule. The act version of it is basically, you know, everyone's different, every situation's different. You know, it's very liberal, you might say, because you know, you're worried about every single situation and all the differences to those situations. Whereas opposed to rule, you are basically on the other end of the spectrum, where we make these set of rules. This is the way it is. You know, yeah, your situation might be different from the next person's, but the exact same cause and effect. So we are going to stick by these rules regardless of your special needs. More conservative look at things. Act liberal, rule conservative. You could kind of say that. So that is it. Utilitarianism in a nutshell. Two different sides. And now I will leave you with a question. And this question is, as a free individual, should we follow a more consequentialist approach, or do we follow a more societal approach with non-consequentialism? You know, everyone wants to be an individual and be free-minded, but in a society where there's many, many people, what can you do? So that's the question I have for you. And that is my video for module number 4.